and that while engaged to Harris, busted, he hired an unqualified part-time model as a legal secretary, and he would prefer for them to ride with him. He would get a limo. Oh, now I just don't think his behavior was appropriate for the position he was in. Said, yeah, no, I found him supportive, that he had a genuine interest in the firm and the younger folks in the firm. Oh man, that's great. Kamala's husband, Doug, busted. An old lawsuit has now emerged, and he has been named inside of it. Now, he's not a named party, he's not a defendant, but he came up because he hired someone named Katya, who apparently, according to the lawsuit, was brought on as a trophy secretary. Her picture is coming up. But these are the allegations that came exclusively from the Daily Mail and Josh Boswell, saying that Doug Emhoff, the husband of Kamala, was inappropriate and misogynistic at work, says the Daily Mail. Colleagues tell the Daily Mail. Now, this comes from attorneys who worked with Doug at his former law firm, company called Venable. They say he yelled expletives. He held a men's-only cocktail hour in the office. Wow, he revoked work perks from women who didn't flirt with him. No, you cannot have a muffin this morning. Gosh, Doug, it's rude. Everybody else got a muffin. And he took only young, attractive associates in a limousine to a ball. Doug. Now, this stuff is obviously pernicious at law firms. All that garbage you see on garbage TV about disgusting lawyers being disgusting, it's all true. A 2019 lawsuit also claimed sex discrimination by other partners in the LA office that Emhoff ran, and that while engaged to Harris, busted, he hired an unqualified part-time model as a legal secretary because she was young, attractive, and friendly with the powerful men in the office. Oh man, this is rough. Now, the claims are the latest in a string of allegations revealed by the Daily Mail that threatened to shatter his image. Look at him. Love first, love first. And they said he's a feminist ally and, you know, a wife guy. Yeah. Now, in August, the Daily Mail also revealed that he cheated on his first wife and got his, oh my gosh, his grade school teacher, maid nanny, look at that title right there, got her pregnant. And then we don't know what happened there. You think there might have been an abortion. Some people are speculating there was a fall down some stairs or something. We don't really know. But Doug was on with Jen Psaki, and she said, you're like this new version of masculinity. We're so inspired by you because you're going to be like the first man or something weird. So they were really excited about it. Now, he admitted to the affair after the story broke, so it wasn't really forthcoming about that. Then last week, Daily Mail also uncovered this dude's backhanding his ex-girlfriend in the middle of the streets of Europe after he thinks she's flirting with some valet driver, even though she's not. She's, I'm trying to get the car, baby. He's like, don't you talk to him. He's the valet. 4 days after the Daily Mail contacted Emhoff, Doug Emhoff, for comment, a spokesperson reportedly denied the allegations as untrue. They said it's not true. Neither he nor the White House have commented to any other media, including us. And now his former colleagues from the Venable Los Angeles office, which he ran from 2006 to 2017, he ran it. They're coming forward with allegations about his inappropriate and a-hole behavior in the workplace. Now, they all spoke upon agreement that they would not be named, fearing retaliation. One senior former staffer claimed that Doug Emhoff bragged about yelling, "Get the F out of my office!" to a female partner at the firm, later telling his top male colleagues, I had to do it. I had to put her in her place. And they're like, yeah, bro, good for you. Get rid of her. Now, she had to ask him something, the ex-staffer said. His office door was closed. She said to his secretary, is he on the phone? She said no. So she tapped on the door. He didn't answer. So she slightly opened the door and stuck her head in. Excuse me, sir, I just need your signature on this. He screamed at her, get the F out of my office! What's worse was he bragged about it to management. He said, yeah, Stephanie came in here and I had to tell her, stop coming in my office. And they were aghast. He's like, I had to, what? They said, he's an a-hole. I can't believe he came and told us that. He told them how we, quote, put her in her place. He came in and says, I swear to her, which is wild. They're also bad leaders and can't even run a functional team. So that was the woman he apparently backhanded. And then he went on with Jen, and Jen is so useless. The Inside Jen Psaki interview. Wow. She has a whole segment about being inside of the show. So more more photos. They love each other. Don't know if he's about to violently assault her here or what, or if he's smirking because he can't wait to get home to scold her and tell her to get the F out of my bedroom. I don't know. But you can see there's something going on. Kissing, fake kissing to cover up the abuse. You know how this goes. Now, a female ex-staffer said it was well known at the firm that Emoff was very flirty, and that if you weren't flirty back or if you didn't respond positively, then you were on his crap list. This former Venable lawyer accused him of favoritism, saying the consequences of not flirting with him that you wouldn't get to work on the cases you wanted to work on. Whoa, this has like Weinstein vibes. Maybe Epstein vibes too. I don't know. But interesting. Yeah, you want that movie part, don't you? Yeah, you do. You know what that means. Ugh. Now, same thing happening here. Oh, you want to work on that first-degree murder case? Oh, you want that high-profile case with that corporate firm? Oh. Now, there were deadlines that if you were one of his favorite people, wouldn't apply. Can do whatever you want. But if you weren't, they would apply to you. Just like his disgusting wife right now. If you are liked by the Democrats, you can burn down the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis. Not even a big deal. Kamala will bail you out. But if they don't like you, you rot in custody like our J6ers, sitting there as political prisoners. Another woman who worked at the firm for several years said that Emoff ran men-only drinks in the office so he could talk about belittling the women there. He had, for many years, cocktail parties where only men were invited in the office on Friday evenings, she said. When my colleague brought that to the attention of Venable in 2010, that stopped. The female attorney, right, these are also attorneys who are dishing this goods out. They claimed Emoff also forced his colleagues to give him a cut of fees from new clients, using his control over allocating staff to new cases. If you bring in a client, you get compensated. And he was in charge of the litigation department, so he staffed your cases. So if you wanted to staff your case, you had to give him a part of your origination bonus, or you didn't get staff. That happens in law firms all the time. Wow. So he's a real sneaky. Now, a woman who worked under Emoff as a junior attorney said that he favored young, pretty girls at the firm. Weinstein situation. And he kind of resembles Weinstein. But if there was an event like the Justice Ball, he would favor certain people. Usually it was young, pretty girls. And he would prefer for them to ride with him. He would get a limo. Oh. Now, I just don't think his behavior was appropriate for the position he was in. I wonder if the floodgates are going to open. I wonder if there's going to be more people who face this abuse. One top former staffer told the Daily Mail that plenty of people were aware of Emoff's alleged inappropriate behavior at the firm, but they covered it up. A former legal secretary at Venable also, her name is Marjan Rabbi. We're going to read through her complaint. She actually sued them and 2 of its partners, not Doug, in 2019, alleging sex discrimination. She claimed that their attorneys yelled at her. They humiliated her. They demeaned her. Now, Emoff wasn't a defendant in there, but he was called out in the complaint. We'll read it. The LA court filing also claimed that Emoff was known for having a glamorous secretary in her 20s. Oh, but she was unqualified. But she was hired only because she was young, attractive, and friendly with the powerful men in the office. Oh no. Emoff was the partner in charge of the office when Rabbi, the woman who is filing this lawsuit, joined. So he was in charge. He married then California Attorney General in August of that year and was promoted to West Coast Managing Director in 2015. So it's a giant firm. And there's the lawsuit. But let me just share with you the photograph of Katya, the woman who is referenced here. Katya Calderon, age 36, began working as a legal administrative assistant at Venable in 2014. And apparently that's an old photo of her, right? So that looks like it's an old photo. It's kind of like a weird photo. Like, are you guys on a date or something? What is that? I don't know. So here he is. And I think if you just put some like curly hair on him, he'd kind of have a Weinstein vibe to him. But her LinkedIn says that she was a legal administrative assistant at Venable and there for 3 years, May to 2017, and a legal practice specialist at another law firm, the same law firm that Emoff also moved to in 2017. So he hires her, then he moves. The LinkedIn page says she is supporting partners Stuart Liner and Douglas Emoff. Now, despite claims that she was unqualified, she has a paralegal certificate from 2010 and 3 other legal assistant roles even before joining them. So maybe she was perfectly qualified. See, you can be good looking and totally qualified. Now, Venable's employment contract meant the company was able to force Rabbi to move her case out of court arbitration, and the lawsuit appears to have been settled and it was later dismissed. Some staffers did say that they had positive experiences with Emoff. One female ex-senior staffer said, yeah, no, I found him supportive, that he had a genuine interest in the firm and the younger folks in the firm. Oh man, that That's great. So one female ex-senior staffer who's probably like a major Democrat, like major, like dyed-in-the-wool Kamala Harris. Like, do you have a quote on this for us? Doug? Yeah. Like skins crawling. Oh yeah, I remember Doug. Yeah, he had a genuine interest in the firm and the younger folks in the firm too. He really cared about them. Ugh. All right, and a male former top partner said that Emoff was respected and liked as well. Now, Emoff, who specialized in entertainment law, among other areas, joined Venable, founding the national law firm by merging his company. Emoff was quickly promoted to partner in charge. Then he oversaw the team of 70 in LA, and that's the woman that he impregnated. She said, I'm freaked out right now. There's Doug and his family, and he represented there while at Venable. He represented a nightclub owner accused of sexual harassment and Merck over its drugs, international arms dealers. Yeah, he handled some big cases. Nobody responded to requests for comment from the Daily Mail. All right, so that's the background. Now, let's take a look at the actual lawsuit. So this was the lawsuit brought by Marjan Rabbi versus the Venable law firm, and Doug Emoff is not named here. You can see this was filed, it looks like back in 2019 based on that case number, and she had attorneys there from LA. So what this looks like is they write, on March 13th, partners at Venable, they flew into a rage at Marjan Rabbi, his legal secretary, over her purported mishandling of partner credits. Now, red-faced and yelling at her while she sat at a desk, he humiliated her and demeaned her in front of her colleagues in a busy legal office. And so does this guy work under Doug? Like, should Doug have been managing that? Is Doug responsible for making sure that doesn't happen there since he's the partner in charge? Humiliated and panicky, Miss Rabbi fled with the assistance of a coworker to a common area, like ran left out of the office. Silverman chased her down, and as she was on her hands and knees in a panic attack, stood over her and continued out of control rage, screaming at her. When he finally regained control, he excused his conduct to Miss Rabbi as due to a difficult month. Sorry, I just snapped at you. She later lost consciousness and was diagnosed with a severe panic attack. Okay, the woman friggin' blacked out. Now, the abuse visited at Doug's firm. Now, the abuse visited on Miss Rabbi that day was not unusual, okay? Rather, a culmination of a pattern of abuse by male partners directed toward her because of her gender and sex. The conduct began when she joined Venable along with partner Alex Weingarten. She joined with this other guy who came over. Weingarten, known office bully, became worse when he faced pressures of performing as a partner. Now, in early 2014, Rabbi was told by this guy who yelled at her that she was useless to him. You're like a child. You're useless to me. Finally, he drove her from his desk after deciding that he deserved a young, attractive secretary like his partner, Doug Emoff, had. Her name, Katya, was office code. You're useless. Get out of here. And you're old, too. I need a young one. A young, hot babe secretary like Doug. Her name was Katya, and her name was office code, as alleged in this lawsuit. And of course, this was settled, and so everybody in here should be presumed innocent. Now, Venable should be ashamed for permitting this conduct to go on for years. And you know who was running the place? Doug. When Miss Rabbi complained, which was not infrequently, she was told that the highest levels of management were hearing her complaints. Doug? Now, Doug left at some point, but this has been going on for years, right? So even if Doug was gone by 2019, presumably he was there at some point. Now, yet there were no improvements in any of this behavior. She was told that when she complained that because of the power wielded by the attorneys, it would be almost impossible for her to find work if they separated. Now, at the same time, Venable was pretending to listen to Miss Rabbi's complaints. It began a polite but persistent campaign to make working there as unpleasant as possible. Force her out. She had been moved to at least 7 different desks in the last year and a half. Hey, you're moving again today. Great news. You're moving again. Hey, great news. Her current desk is completely isolated from her colleagues, so they shoved her in a closet somewhere. The constant reassignments have prevented her from establishing work relationships, earning overtime and bonuses, generating positive employment reviews, and more. The abuse that she suffered, coupled with her retaliation, has seriously compromised her health and her ability to continue to work as a highly compensated legal secretary, okay? She may never even recover. Now, the days when an attorney can make enough money to excuse verbal abuse and humiliation of the women that work for him are over. Legal staff is not required to tolerate and even babysit lawyers through tantrums supposedly caused by stress or pressure. It really is pathetic. Verbal abuse and humiliation alter the terms of employment. When this conduct is directed at women, it's discrimination. And so the parties are Marjan Rabbi. There's also this person a defendant, this person a defendant, and the LLC, the corporation, the law firm. Big company, website, more than 850 professionals, and a bunch of people there. According to its website, one of the LA office's 90-plus professionals sits on their diversity committee. Only one of the Los Angeles offices sits on its diversity committee. Now, the Does are the defendants at the law firm, and here is their complaint. So they say, okay, Rabbi began working for a lawyer before he joined this company. Then he joined, right? He left. She came with him. That happens all the time. Now, prior to joining, this guy would abuse her and other women, including her. He was actually sued by someone else, right? So Amy Flesher now sued this guy. Now, after joining this, Rabbi hoped that Venable would exert some influence over him. She's like, okay, look, this is a big firm. They'll come in, they'll get him in line, and I will be protected because there'll be HR and management and all the things. Turns out the opposite happened. In fact, in 2014, this lawyer complained about a mistake on a cease and desist letter that she had finalized. He called her and screamed at her on the phone, calling her useless for his mistake. Then Rabbi learned that Weingarten, the lawyer, had sent the letter to a firm client. She went out of her way to call Weingarten privately to alert him that he had a problem. When she tried to warn him, he screamed at her, including, "F off, I'm on vacation, you deal with that." Then in the summer of 2017, his behavior got worse. He criticized her for calendar conflicts that he created. She's like, well, did you check your calendar? You have to check your calendar before you schedule something then. He regularly changed his mind about partner credit submissions, later accused her of getting it wrong, would routinely refer to her issue with numbers as the reason that she was wrong and he was always right, yelled at her routinely, called her a child all the time. Now, she actually has a problem with numbers. It's known as dyscalculia. Weingarten was aware of this. He knows she's got a disability. And so he was actively looking to move her off his desk. In fact, by the end of 2017, he's like, I'm done with her. One day, she was meeting with Carlene and Corinne to discuss another matter when a lawyer walked in on the meeting with the pretext of asking Miss Rogers about moving to Douglas Emhoff's office. So she's in a meeting and she's in there. He walks in. He says, I'm thinking about moving to Doug Emhoff's office. What? Now, dropping his pretext and without prompting, Weingarten, the attorney, told Rogers that Miss Rabbi should be assigned to do filings and work with Jeff Logan and Eric Bakewell so that he could have himself a Katya. Now, this was not the first or the last time that Weingarten, the lawyer, referred to Katya as a euphemism for a trophy secretary. Miss Rabbi heard him comment at one time that every partner should have a Katya. Oh, isn't that nice? Now, they have a footnote down here, footnote 2. It says Katya refers to an assistant hired by Doug Emhoff, who was widely considered unqualified and hired because she was young, attractive, and friendly with the powerful men in the office, a Katya. And Weingarten's abuse towards Miss Rabbi continued to try to force her to leave his desk so that he could have his Katya. He was inspired by Doug. Now, in October, he told Mike Barnes that he needed a new secretary because of her learning disability. Then, when they closed the Los Angeles office out of concerns for wildfires, they were closed, but she was expected to respond to client emergencies. She responded about an hour after the messages were sent. The lawyer just berated her. The tirade didn't stop. Blamed her, left the conversation. She feels like she's an emotional punching bag. And so the thing goes on, right? The abuse finally forced her to request a reassignment, told her to move away from the desk. Doug is presumably there and in charge of everything, and nothing's really happening. The reassignment did not help. Still discriminated. Many people continuing the abuse, already busy with demanding attorneys, the stress continued to increase. She was walking on eggshells. He said, we can't put these two women together. We can't move a floater near Miss Rabbi's desk because they're both women. And if you put these women together, they're just going to gossip all day like schoolgirls at Doug's law firm. So they filed a couple of complaints. They ultimately settled this complaint. Not sure what the terms of the settlement were, but I'm sure that none of them are talking about it. So the complaint was filed by Nathan Smith. Of course, it was settled and resolved, but Doug not responding to this issue, and more continues to emerge about Doug's terrible past. And his trophy secretary called Katya, seen here, brought into the firm for her stellar legal analysis. And we'll see if more people emerge who were also a part of Doug's dark past. As the election continues, we'll be here to cover it.